All right, welcome to the November 13th, 2023 AnonCreds Working Group meeting. Few PRs to the specification, a checklist for completion, also some PRs in the AnonCreds V2 work to talk about. Artem is here and we'll be talking about progress that he and the DSR team have made in the AnonCreds V1 in W3C verifiable credentials format. So those are the main topics. A reminder, this is a Linux Foundation and Hyperledger Foundation meeting. So the Linux Foundation antitrust policy is in effect, as is the Hyperledger Code of Conduct. Please follow them. I'll put into the chat the, oh, no, I don't have it there. I'll briefly capture this. Whoops. Oh, well, here we go. Just capture that, put the into chat the agenda, if anyone wants to help out editing and add their name to it. Anyone new that wants to introduce themselves, talk about what they're doing and why they're interested?
Yeah, I'll say hi quickly. I mean, I've been here before. I'm Will.
Yeah.
And I did quite a lot of research on the AnonCreds stuff. And I just want to say that I'm going to try and read through the whole spec and add some comments. That's okay.
Okay. Awesome. Welcome, Will. Good to see you again. All right. PRs to review. We're about to have a couple of new ones come in for the verify to organize that. We're really in the last stretch. I'm finally getting finished this. So these PRs are to begin the cleanup process. So it would be good if folks would take a look at these. Mike, thanks for reviewing the one about the lack of key correctness proof. I'm probably going to revise that based on our discussion last week one last time. Appreciate if someone could take a look and give a review of these ones. Checklist to finish the spec. I'm surprised there's no security and privacy. So those are the most important ones. The security and privacy we've never filled in. And so Mike gave me some things to start with on that. And I'm pretty sure I'll have that this week. Then a full pass over the text for cleanup the devs and refs. And I would like to get an example of a full presentation. And I've got a plan for getting that with that includes all of the types of data, self-attested, unrevealed, and so on. So that's really the bulk of the cleanup, which could be done in a day or so if I really got down to it. So I'm hoping to do that, and then declare this one finished. I do want to talk a bit about the V2 spec in relation to this, so we'll get to there as well. So those are the activities on there. Will, while you're here, we'll hit this one, and Mike can confirm it. So Will, why don't you go ahead and give the overview of this?
Sure, yeah. So for me, that reads like we're storing blinded link secrets for every anonymous credential that we receive. I don't think that's true.
Correct.
Like, I think, yeah. So,
but I'm not quite sure it's Mike. Does the blinded link? I believe the blinded link secret goes into the credential itself.
Yes, it does.
It does. Okay, so this is actually correct, Will, except that this belongs down here.
really, but so I thought in the protocol, like the thing that I would store and is signed against is actually the link secret, not the blinded form of the secret. Like my credential is the signature on the link secret once I remove the blinding from the signature.
That's right.
So it's just the link secret, not the blinded link secret, right? That's
Yes.
where I'm confused about.
Right,
Yeah.
but what happens is the holder generates a blinded link secret, passes it to the issuer and the issuer inserts it into the credential itself.
Yeah, and then signs it and passes it back to the holder, and then the holder
Correct.
removes the blinding from the signature so that the ultimate value that's been signed is the secret, not the blinded link.
Correct. That's correct.
Oh, you mean on presentation?
No. No,
Okay,
any value that's blinded, it's only
Yeah.
blind to the issuer. The holder knows the actual value.
Yes, correct.
Yeah.
I just think that, yeah, the thing is that the set of attributes that have been signed ultimately that the holder cares about and is stored is all the attributes in the credential plus the link secret. The blinded value is only used as part of the protocol.
Correct.
But isn't the blinded value what is signed by this signature is the issuer's signature, correct?
The issuer creates a blinded signature and passes that to the holder, and the holder does an operation to change the signature so that the issuer never sees the actual signature that the holder ultimately gets.
Right. Okay.
Correct.
Okay, and which is, yeah, okay, I get that as well. So the way you're just using different words for me, so that's what's throwing me off. So in here should be oh no, I see, attribute values. The attribute values includes the blinded link secret, correct? And then the signature is a blinded signature of the issuer, and the holder unblinds that.
Right, yeah, it depends what this diagram really represents. Like if it represents the objects that the holder is storing, then I would say we should get rid of the blinded link secret.
Agreed,
entirely.
Yes.
And then it should be link secret is 1 to n and non-credential, non-cred credential.
Yes, okay.
And
I would agree with that.
Yeah, and I'm happy to maybe suggest some text, because I think like I read the descriptions as well, and I think just adding a couple of lines would make that.
If you're reading through, please.
Yeah, so I'll maybe create a PR, but I wanted to just talk about this before.
Yeah, okay. Any other comments from that? Thanks, Will. Artem, do you want to go through where you are with the AnonCreds? I had recorded these list of questions from my read. We answered, I updated that this morning with a bunch of answers, but we didn't really formally go through them, so I wouldn't mind going through these. But do you want to talk about where you are, ask any questions, and let me know if you want to share the screen?
Yeah, can I share?
Yeah.
Hello, everyone. So just short intro for people who didn't attend our last call, description of what we are doing. The goal is use legacy indie-styled credentials with CL signature and make them compatible with W3C specification to convert the format and be able to create W3C presentations as well. And the work we are currently doing is updating AnonCreds specification as well, how credentials will look like in W3C format. This is first part of our work. And the second part is extending of AnonCreds REST library to provide a set of new APIs to achieve our goals. As I mentioned, is using legacy credentials, which were issued before. But now after migration, I want to be able to create W3C credentials and presentation based on them to provide a completely new flow to create W3C credentials and presentations right as a result. And also we're trying to achieve to keep capability for applications at other types of identity integrity proofs provide a set of helper methods to set additional metadata and proof objects to be able to generate different types of proofs. Last week, we detailed go through the design. I would skip this part now. I just want to show that we have opened merge request with the design document. Last week, I processed a lot of comments from the community and updated both design documents. This week, I'm going to extract specification document itself and move it to corresponding repo spec. And in AnonCreds we will leave this document because it more directly connected to the library itself.
Yeah.
Regarding our current status, last week we opened a second merge request. We already started working on the implementation and we already have first version completed. Here is this merge request and it already provides methods, all mentioned above methods and functionality. This is first version. There are some shortcuts and code duplication internally, but in future we are going to make it simpler. But at least other projects which depends on the work we are doing here can start integration. We haven't done wrappers yet, but we plan to get it ready this week. Please feel free to leave comments in the merge request. For some reason, I cannot assign reviewers.
Yeah, I'll do that. I can do that.
And probably this reason why still do not have any review, but
Yeah.
it's here.
Yeah.
Last week, we discussed a bunch of questions which came to us during the design, and in the document I also added answers, kind of make a commitment. And I also last week I extended the list of questions, and there's still one which is not answered regarding the mapping. I'll touch this topic a little bit later. I provided an example of our vision. Another question is about revocation. For the current implementation, we put revocation registry ID into credential schema, and other connected fields like witness and registry, we put it directly into proof value. But an idea which we found that it may be we can put revocation proof into second object independent to make it a different type of signature. So another kind of credential signatures can use revocation accumulator-based revocation as replacement for credential status and expiration date, another option. And the question basically here, should we work on it and try to provide more detailed design on how revocation can be extracted and put as an additional object, or we just should proceed with this basic approach, putting everything into a single proof value?
I mean, I'd like to see what your idea is, if you can get that, and I'd like to share it around. I think we are okay with doing it this way. So this is the worst, is we just do it this way. But if you've got a good idea for putting it into the status list or whatever that, what that element is called, I'd like to see that.
Yeah, by the next meeting, I provide a section where I provide example what we see. Another question to discuss is about fully qualified identifiers. Currently,
Okay.
AnonCreds CRS is designed to be kind of ledger agnostic. It can accept credentials with any forms. It doesn't proceed them, somehow analyze and extract data. But during the conversion into W3C format, we need to get issuer ID, and it's not a part of the credential for it. For the current moment, we can handle legacy Git credential definition ID and extract the issuer Git from there, but it means we make library kind of tied to the
Yeah.
format.
Yep.
Another option is just passing credential definition object itself when we does the conversion, and this will be a more proper way, but application need to resolve definition and pass it into the method.
Does it make sense to add a function, an abstract function that you call that says, here's the credential definition ID, what's the issue, who's the issuer?
But basically on the holder side, he is not aware in the moment who previously issued it. Yeah,
well, no, the holder would have to have the, given a ledger agnostic, the holder has to know how to resolve a credential definition, right?
Yeah. Yes.
And so it must have code that is ledger specific for each type of credential definition it can resolve. So I'm thinking you pass the credential definition to that same chunk of code, the resolver, essentially the resolver with just give me back the issuer, and the method has to, so you're requiring a new method for every AnonCreds method. Any AnonCreds resolver has to be able to, given a credential definition, return the issuer ID. Is that a reasonable way to do it?
Yeah, definitely, but it just it's not the responsibility of AnonCreds RS library itself. It's rather about
I see.
resolver library.
It's resolver library, which is okay. Yeah, I suspect passing in the credential definition then is probably the right thing.
Okay, yeah, I agree with using this approach.
Yeah, yeah.
And the last question from this list, there were a couple comments about issuance date in this specification and different types of proofs it matters. And they state is like a daytime of getting credential valid. And the discussion was what time should we use in our case? Should it be current one or random time within the current day, or just the start of the day? What option is better, and which approach is more proper to preserve privacy for the holder, to avoid correlation?
Yeah, I mean, since this is basically in AnonCreds, this is unsigned data.
Yeah.
And so, and in an AnonCreds presentation, you're never going to present it. If you also have a non-AnonCreds data integrity proof signature, you can share it, but you don't really care about correlatability because you've already got correlatability because you're sharing a unique signature. So from a correlatable point of view, I don't think it really matters. I suspect we just make it current just because that's the simplest. That'd be my 2 cents. I really don't think it matters, so any of them will work.
I think it's okay, yeah, just using current time.
Yeah. I mean, as they say, it should never be used in an on-creds anyway in a presentation.
Yeah.
Okay.
This is all new questions, and now I'd like
Yeah.
to touch mapping.
Yes. Yes.
So in previous version, legacy in this style presentation contained like explicit mapping which requested attribute to which subproof corresponds to, and verifier could check the validity, but validity of presentation against of proof request, not only signature itself, but also just all his requested data is there. But it seems like it is a duplication kind of, because in case of W3C format, we already have credential subject, and credential subject includes revealed attributes. Yeah, this one is right.
Mhm. Yeah.
And if verifier really wants to make strict validation on his side, he can follow more complex way than before, but he still can check. Here's an example of pseudocode how it was done before inside of AnonCreds RS, and probably on the top level as well, when verifier went through the proof request attributes and checked reveal mapping, it's called here, and he checked revealed and revealed attributes and groups that
Yeah.
all of them are included, and all of them matches to restrictions they're resolved, and he could get the value from the subject. In the current form, there is no issue with revealed attributes and unrevealed and the revealed attribute groups because their value also included in the credential subject as well, and verifier still can check. The question is about predicates and unrevealed attributes, how verifier can check their validity. And the approach which we suggest is basically, can we scroll back? In case of predicates, we can either derive a new attribute and put it into credential subject, something like birthday less the value, or we can put object itself like it was in the request. So verifier same way as before, taking different field, can validate that predicate was resolved in the specific credential. This is quite straightforward. In case of unrevealed attributes, the path a little bit longer, but the verifier can still check it. Verifier same way can go through the requested attribute, and if he finds that for one of them there is no credential, it's not mentioned in subject, he assumes that this attribute was put into unrevealed group, and in verify function we already pass all schemas corresponding to used credentials, and verifier can get schema for each of provided credential, can check the attributes, what attributes are in the schema, and if he finds a match, he make a guess that holder just decided not to reveal its value, but in fact according to schema it's there, and it will be if we go into proof value, in CL style, I need to find some example. This is not a short form. Just a moment. Here is, I think. If it's not enough, just checking the credential schema, and verifier wants to make more validation for some reason. He can decode the proof value, and inside of primary proof equal proof M field. In this is not a good example. All attributes from the credential are revealed, but in case some attribute is not revealed, one more property will be here. So verifier can double check that holder actually has it. So it really looks like we do not need to put this mapping, and we can validate and check everything without this explicit field when the credential subject explicitly tell that this specific credential was used to provide a proof for this set of requested attributes. There will not be this data, but using subject and using proof verifier.
That's all you need.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. If you need to look more carefully, you can scroll to very bottom of this document, and this section, how validation can be done with preserving this mapping requested attributes, and another example of how can it be done without such.
Okay. Okay.
Nice. This is basically all updates I have for today.
Excellent.
Yeah, just to recap, feel free to review implementation merge request. All methods are there, but some refactoring we expect to do this week. Inside, all required methods are there, and depending teams will be able to start integration, I believe, by the end of this week.
Awesome. Okay. That was excellent. Thank you. I think that answers all of them. So the last one there, so the only thing that still rings a bell with me is this idea of what should be in the presentation for the predicates. That idea of the data structure or some string. So I'm going to try to do a query of folks in the community and the others that will be doing the other code with us is what they think of that.
Okay, thank you.
I suspect the data structure sounds like the right way to go. I think all of these are answered. The mapping one, now I get it, and I'm good with whatever you think is the right thing to do. Okay, well, that answered all of them, I think. No JSON LD processing, no identifier, nested JSON arrays are not supported. We're going to leave the encoding. Time of day you talked about, and that's covered now. The cleanup, I noticed, thank you for cleaning up the language in that. Appreciate that. So I think all of these are covered. And then I should be in contact with these two other groups this week, starting tomorrow. So As yet, I have not been able to contact them, so I will be contacting them tomorrow. All right. Thanks, Artem. Any questions from anyone else for Artem and the team working on this W3C effort? W3C verifiable credential data model standard format of AnonCreds. It's such a mouthful. Okay. As far as the AnonCreds V2 work, Les wanted to be here.
I have a answer to your question that you had in there.
Okay. All right, well, we'll get to that in a sec. So Mike, I put a pull request in here yesterday. If you could take a look at it, basically it just reworks the README to add information in as sort of an introduction, and then leaves the rest to what you had. These updates are just formatting adjustments. So other than that, I ran how to run the cargo tests and so on. So if you could take a look at that, if there's anything to add to the getting started other than what I figured out of doing that, then let me know.
Okay.
So if you could take a look at that. Second,
Looks like I already did.
Oh, did you?
Yeah. See, approved.
Yes. Okay, good. Issues I added, the issues we've talked about so far of to-dos related to that. One of them's not necessary, but for anyone that's interested, I'll throw this out there because there's a couple of people that haven't been on all these calls. What's implemented in this library, this AnonCreds V2 library today, is using PS signatures. There is a post-quantum version of the PS signatures. So if anyone wants to experiment with seeing what it would look like to actually run this same thing, but use the post-quantum PS signatures, I'd love to see you try it. So that one's in there. Other than these, it's sort of a combination of definition and specification work. So things like defining what are we going to use for the presentation request format. The same sort of effort for W3C, verifiable credentials and presentation format. Adding date and time types. Mike, I don't know what is there anything that you've got that's able to be used for the BBS Plus?
Yeah, I'll be submitting it soon.
Okay.
I've already got
Awesome.
a pretty good start on it.
Okay, so this one's likely to go to you. This one is the same thing, abstracting the signature to enable swappability. And
that's where
BBS
most of the work is. Like
exactly.
number 7, that's pretty easy to do. Anyone could do that one.
Which one?
No, issue 7, add link secret.
Yes. Interesting comment the other day from the we had a meeting, Mike and I had a meeting with the team from Japan that works on this, Professor Saki and Dan Yamamoto, and they actually have made the link secret optional and not required so that you can have unbound AnonCreds, which hadn't occurred to me. It doesn't really make a lot of sense to have unbound AnonCreds, except their use case is doing equality checks between an unbound, so equality of claims between an unbound and a bound credential. So if I have a bound credential that says I took a vaccine, had a vaccine, and an unbound and that said what type of vaccine it was, and an unbound credential that is a type that matches, I could show that I had a vaccine that was of of an approved type without sharing which actual one. Now, I think that's a pretty obscure use case, but anyway, they have unbound, so non-link secret based AnonCreds. So I don't know if that makes any sense. So I've got it in as a required field, just like we have it in AnonCreds V1. So there you go. And the last thing I had, Mike, was the question about Alisar.
The short answer is no. There's no correlatable identifier. That's why we
Really?
designed it that way. Yep.
Really, that's super interesting. So here's the use case that we're thinking about. The issue with revocation in general, Alisar being one example, is that when you do an AnonCreds or an anonymous unlinkable revocation, the holder must retrieve the revocation information at the time they do a presentation. And to get the latest, essentially to get the latest revocation information. And the problem with that is if the revocation manager, if the revocation information is held by the issuer, then from an outsider's viewpoint, the holder is calling back to the issuer, is calling home every time they do a credential request, or sorry, a presentation. And Alisar is a direct example of that. But even with, say, the AnonCreds V1, if the ledger is held by the issuer for whatever reason, then it looks like a callback to the issuer. So one of the ways we're looking at mitigating that is by having an additional protocol where the holder requests that the verifier retrieve the revocation information necessary. And if the verifier can't learn anything about the issue or the holder by doing that call, then it's no skin off their nose to do it. It's an extra back and forth in the process. So Mike, with Alisar, this proxy that I'm thinking about is the verifier. So the verifier says, hey, here's the presentation I want. And the holder says, well, go retrieve this revocation information for me from a revocation manager and give it back to me. And then the holder constructs the proof of non-revocation. Would it in that exchange, would the verifier learn any unique identifiers for the holder? It sounds like it wouldn't.
It wouldn't, but the verifier wouldn't be able to apply any of the necessarily math to do the update either.
No. They would have to pass it on to the revocation manager.
Yeah,
Right?
and then in that case, yeah.
And then they're, so as I say, they're literally being used as a proxy. It's the verifier though. So the holder would pass some data over to the verifier. The verifier would relay it to the revocation manager, take the result, pass it back to the holder, and then proceed.
Yeah. So, I mean, the worst case, the verifier can just do a DOS attack, right?
Yeah, well,
Of service. That's the only thing he could do.
they could do that anytime.
Yep.
Okay. That's super interesting. Because if that becomes possible and that becomes a flow, then suddenly this becomes by far the simplest revocation technique we can use.
Well, like I said, when we designed it, that was
Yeah.
the primary thing to fix, among others.
Yeah. All right, super interesting. That is all of the topics I had for now. I don't know if anyone has any other topics they want to bring up. Excellent. Will, if you are looking at the spec, feel free to put a PR in. And as I say, I'm going to be going through and trying to wrap up and finalize the spec.
Yeah, okay, I'll
And-
put a PR in for this link secret stuff, and then maybe I'll just put in more generic one, just some suggestions.
Excellent. Yeah, you can do them as issues. If you want to just point them out to me and not do a PR and I'll fix them, feel free to do that. Maybe just open an issue and keep a list of things that you think need to be fixed. If that's easier for you, whatever you want to do.
I mean, I have the repo downloaded. I think it's quite easy to do. Yeah, but
Perfect.
I'll see. Cool.
All right. Much appreciated. Artem, thank you so much. And we'll talk again next week on the work you're doing. All right. Thanks all.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thanks,
Thank you,
Mike.
bye.